But you see what happens with those people that do that? The only thing that works is their sales process.
Yeah.
Pretty much after that, nothing else. Because if somebody's already selling you a course or some sort of product, they already have testimonials, and testimonials come from people that have already used that product. Now, if it is a new system to do anything else, guess what? How many other people are already doing that in the marketplace? So by the
Mm.
time you try it as well as a person, that's why it seldom ever works. So, it really depends on the person that's being sold onto those products. Because if you're a person that just likes shiny objects, guess what? There's always going to be a new and improved system, setup, process, trinket at the end of this call.
Talking with the experts.
Hello, and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com, and Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today it is my very great pleasure to speak once again to Prosper Taruvinga. Now, Prosper is one of my most favourite people in the whole world. And today we're going to be talking about why your brand isn't generating sales online and how you can fix it. We were just having a bit of a conversation around that before we started the podcast. So we'll just continue on and just pretend that you're not there. Hi, Prosper.
Fantastic, Rosa. Thank you so much for having me yet again on your lovely, lovely, lovely podcast here.
And firstly, before we go on, I have to thank you so much for the Christmas card that you sent me. It was absolutely amazing, so personalised, and it really touched me so much. It was so good.
Oh, it's things like that. Well, Rose, the one thing that you don't tell people is how much of a good heart you have. For those that are listening right now, you are one of the luckiest people out there to be in the presence of Rose Davidson. She goes above and beyond, even if nobody has asked her to do anything. She does things for you that are way, 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 way beyond what anyone can ask for. Case in point, I started a community platform, and I didn't know how to actually engage people and create content. And Rose just, from her own free will, just started putting content on there, and we started growing slowly. And I've got you to thank for all of that. So
Oh,
I'm so much indebted to you, Rose.
it was my pleasure. I could see that, it wasn't going as well as it could have been. And, as I said, you're one of my favourite people. And I would do anything for you. So, you know, I'm just waiting to get to Melbourne so I can taste some of that lovely Scotch whiskey that you have.
It's my new passion there, Rose. I don't know. I'll tell you what really got me into drinking whiskey. Um, I heard about the process. So the process, a good whiskey is only sold after 10 years.
Mm.
And guess what's happening in that 10 years? It's stuck and sealed in an oak barrel. So the person who went in and distilled that whiskey has no idea what the end product is going to look like. And they have to wait for 10 years. All right. So that somebody would sit back and say, nah, I don't like this. So you can imagine the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into preparing such a product. And once I started knowing that side of the drink, it really started to resonate. I mean, as we are speaking today, what if you would remember well? It is 10 years since I came
Came
into
here,
Australia.
yeah.
Now, if I was a whiskey, I'll be being bottled today. You know what I mean?
It's similar to business, isn't it? You put something in and you wait and wait and wait and wait, and you don't know what you're going to get out at the end.
Absolutely. So that's exactly the story I'm telling myself with every drop of whiskey that I'm drinking, and I don't mind now paying how much ever they're asking for, because if you really look at it, some beverages like vodka or gin, that can be distilled in less than 24 hours and they're already on the shelf and they're selling. You know what I mean? So the person does not put in that much skin in the game. You and I would understand, Rose. We've been at it for a while, and what we're creating, we still don't know what the end product looks like.
No, I'm still working through, my packages and doing whatever, and I still don't know how that's going to turn out, and if I'm getting my message out there to the right people, and just all those sorts of things. And you tweak and you change and you tweak it a little bit more, and then it hits the mark somewhere. And and that yourself with Livelong community. You tweaked and you turned and you tweaked it a little bit more, and it's become quite engaging. So yeah,
Absolutely. See what we're dealing with each and every day, and just circling the topic that we wanted to talk about today, why people are not making sales, is because there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of patience. All these ingredients that we're putting in, they need to sit, ferment, and formulate and actually come up as a finished product. But nobody talks about the waiting. Nobody talks about the actual tears, and you know what I mean?
Oh,
Tears.
what I hate? You get these coaching gurus that get on there and say, "Oh, join my course for, X amount of dollars, and in 6 weeks you'll get to, like 6 figures." Oh, yeah, dive in and do the course, and what happens? Oh God, nothing.
Or crickets. But you see what happens with those people that do that? The only thing that works is their sales process.
Yeah.
Pretty much after that, nothing else. Because if somebody's already selling you a course or some sort of product, they already have testimonials, and testimonials come from people that have already used that product. Now, if it is a new system to do anything else, guess what? How many other people are already doing that in the marketplace? So by the time you try it as well as a person, that's why it seldom ever works. So, it really depends on the person that's being sold onto those products. Because if you're a person that just likes shiny objects, guess what? There's always going to be a new and improved system, setup, process, trinket at the end of this call. Just
Yep, absolutely. And I'm such a sucker for shiny objects. You know that.
Well, at the end of the day, I think it's the curiosity that's in you, which basically sometimes you might get into that shiny object just to see what it's like at the other end, because the copy that would have written that ad, the pictures, the way that ad is set up, a lot of psychology goes into certain things. And when somebody presses send on an ad, they would have sometimes three or four things would have been right about that ad. So whoever sees it, it catches them dead in their tracks, and that's what a lot of people fall for. But how it then works when you use that shiny object, that's then now that leaves a lot to be desired. And that's why maybe sometimes a lot of people are not making sales or growing their business, because they're stopping to see what other people are working on, and eventually they're not working to build their own business. Or
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess so. Brand and branding. I know people get that confused because they're the same name except with the ing at the end. Can you just explain to people what is the difference between a brand and branding?
Fantastic. That's a really good question. So brand is basically what people say about your business, your product, or your services, especially when you're not there. What does Sally say about this podcast? All right. Each and every one of us as human beings, we gather information differently. All right. So the way we gather information, we can't retain or keep every single bit of content that comes in our space. All right. Right now, I'm focused on the color blue. All right. Because you're wearing a blue top and the girl behind you has a blue jumper, and anything else that's blue in my periphery right now, I bet you're now starting to see blue. The reason why I say that is because our minds just gravitate to one single piece of information at any given time. Now, if you say, I'm Rose, I'm going to help you with your PowerPoints, I'm going to help you with your videos, I'm already putting you in the box of people that will help me with the video, with the video or with a PowerPoint. Tomorrow, if you come back and say you're going to help me with my website, or tomorrow if you come back and say you're going to help me with my SEO, my brain is not going to compute that because you told me that you're a video person. So now you have to start branding to teach me and get me to understand that not only do you do just videos, you also happen to do X, Y, and Z. So branding is a process of creating that relationship and creating those neural pathways, right? In order for our customers to understand who we are, what we do, and if we are relevant to them at that particular moment.
So it's marketing basically. So branding is the marketing part of your brand. So your brand is you or your product or your service, and branding is the marketing of you, your brand, your service or your product.
Absolutely. So that's the doing part. Okay.
Yep.
So you're doing the deed. So to walk is the act of putting one foot in front of the other. Walking is the actual action and the movement of your left, right feet in order for you to go from point A to point B.
Yep.
So when you're branding, you're driving your business, your message to that market. All right. And in the process, you're doing it consistently so that people can then understand what it is that you can do for them, and they can remember you when that moment or that information arises. And the problem with what we now have in our over communicated environment is people are starting to sound the same. So when you are branding, right, you're putting that inside your brand. You know what I mean?
You've got to differentiate yourself, but it's so busy. I mean, the internet is so busy now, and just you're right, people are doing very similar things. And how do you make yourself different? How do you make your copy sound different? How do you make all those things make you the individual that people want to buy from?
Well, this is now where most of the experiments I've been doing since the last 2 years will come into play, Rose. I've been building a network of people that are directly connected to my work. I've forgotten the rest of the world. I'm just dealing with the people, making sure they understand my story, they understand I'm there, they understand what I do and how I can help them. And no matter how many times I'm saying that, it's still new to other people. So I believe in the world that we live in right now, there's a rule. I can't quite remember what it is at the moment. I'm sorry. But it says each and every one of us knows at least 250 people intimately.
Oh, yeah, the rule of 6 degrees of separation.
Yes, that rule there. All right. I just want to make sure that, I'm being very, transparent with this. So with those 250 people, the more we are communicating, the more we're sharing ideas, the more you now get to know a lot more about what's happening around our business, and the more I get to know what's happening with Rose Davidson. At some point, I might just talk about you at a networking event if I run out of things to say, or when somebody mentions the things that you do. Now, guess what that does? You are now exposed to that 250 people. So instead of you trying to rush and get to those people, why not get the people that are really, really close to you to know you intimately enough to then speak about you at a barbecue?
Well, yes, and that doesn't happen enough these days, I don't think. I think people are too focused on their own backyard without looking at other people's.
But half of the time, if you bring in value, if you are consistent enough, we have a statement in our culture that says, if you linger around at the barbecue long enough, you'll soon have a haircut.
Makes no sense. Sorry.
All right. So if you in Africa, when people go to the shops, there's usually nothing else to do, like our shopping malls there. But at a barbecue, not at a barbecue, at a barber shop, there's usually a radio. So there's loud music there. So people just go and hang out at a barber shop, and it just ends up becoming a social affair. The more you hang out at those kind of places, you soon end up doing what that place does. And they lure people in by playing really good music or contemporary music, because people go to a barbershop to look cool. So that's where you get new music. That's where you get new trends. So you just go and see what others are getting, and eventually you will get what everybody else is getting. So
yeah, that's pretty much what used to happen, back in the 50s and 60s, 40s, 50s and 60s. That's what used to happen with barbershops,
people just go.
Yeah, they'd go to the barbershop to get away from the missus, and have their bit of tobacco or whatever it is. I mean, that was in America, but and have a bit of a chin wag, and then I'll just have a shave or a haircut or whatever. Yeah, and then you'd be exposed to more people because of the networking that was happening at the time.
Absolutely. So the way I've brought this down, and I've gotten to start understanding how it's not easy, but it will make it so simple to get your message out there. There are 3 M's in marketing, all right, which, if they are properly understood, it will make the effort and the work of each and every one of the people that have an online business, so super simple. The first M is the message. All right. What is your message? What do you sell, and how can people get it? And how are you different from anybody else who is selling that same service? Then the second M is market. Who exactly needs to buy that product or service? What do they look like, and where are they before they actually make that purchase? And then the third M is media. Now, the media, as you would know right now, depending on what year you're listening to this podcast, but we just got introduced to Clubhouse, and I can't stand that place because my brain does not compute what's going on in there. So I've just literally decided I'm not going to go in there. But that doesn't mean it's not a channel that people can use. If you can take great photos and do great videos, TikTok is a media, right? In as much as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn have always been medias that we've been working with since we can remember the internet. So whatever message, if you are transparent enough in that message and you repeat it consistently enough to the right kind of people, even if they're not quite ready, somehow, somewhere, somebody's going to raise up their hand and say, hey, I think You're the right person for me. Let's do business. So in all these processes, you need to do as much as you can to get to know your potential customers, see what problems they're facing, and then be the one to solve them. And then eventually you ask for the sale, because at the end of the day, human beings are wired for reciprocity. All right. If I scratch your back, you scratch mine. If I've helped you numerous times, at least you want to give it back. You were talking about the Christmas card or whatever it is. I didn't know how else I could give back. I did not want that burden of I haven't done anything. So can you imagine if you're doing that to your customers, and the only way they can return the favor is through their credit card?
Well, yeah, that's true. It is very true. So I guess the next question would be is, say someone's got an online shop, and they've got, their brand, but they're not consistent with their branding. How can they marry those three things up together?
Fantastic. So we've got an online shop and they're not consistent with their branding. All right. Well, the obvious thing is to try and see how whatever you're selling makes a difference to the people you're selling it to.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of comments on different groups that I'm in. People are just having so many issues with their online shops because they've set them up and they think they're all beautiful and everything, and having it beautiful is not the issue. It's the fact they're not getting buyers, and what they're being told is the same. You need to be consistent in your messaging when outside of the shop, and you need to be promoting it, and whether it's beautiful or not is really here nor there, because it's not about me or you as the seller, it's about your client or your customer.
Great. You see, the one thing that the biggest mistake that we do as business owners, and I'm saying this with inverted marks, is the first thing that we look at is, am I happy with what I've created? And if you're happy, then guess what? The whole world might as well be happy. All right. But the one thing that we're not taking into account is, where is the customer right now? And where does my product meet them on their journey? So is your product a need that they absolutely need and they can't live without? Or is it a want? When you know the difference between the two, all right, needs, people are always seeking them out no matter what. Nobody can go without food, without clothing, without healthcare, without, hair products, facials. Even if we're on Zoom, you know what I mean? But, I don't know if you can see, I've got my foundation on. I had to make sure, where in the bias, hierarchy of needs are you placed? Are you at a point where if somebody has absolutely no need or no reason to be buying your product, they just buy it as a gift? If you understand the mindset at which the customer really is, then for you to connect with that customer, do or write or create content that they need before they engage with your product and after they've engaged with your product. Because half of the time, some people are just asking for answers, looking for answers. If I can give a specific example, let's say somebody is looking to buy gym equipment and they want to train their biceps. So the first thing that they might look at is, they're not going to think they need your product because they don't know it exists. They're going to look for ways to strengthen their bicep. Now, if you've got content that is already covering that intent, guess what? You've already created the know, like, and trust factor of which people do business with, those that they know, like, and trust. So if you can show Sally that for you to get good biceps, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and give 3 different tools that she can use, of which one of them is yours. So you've given her a choice. You haven't sold to her, sell, 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 sell. No, you've given her value. Now she can use that value later on and get back to that blog, or click onto the tools that have been subscribed. And eventually, if they think it's a good and fair price, guess what? You have introduced somebody to your product. But what we then do essentially is just go and ask for the wallet. No, hey, how are you doing? Nothing.
Hey, don't you hate that? Hate it. I mean, people friend me on Facebook, and then next thing I know, I'll get a message. Oh, do you want to join my group, or do you want to buy my service, or do you want to buy my product? Or yes, block straight away. Block.
That's why a lot of people don't succeed. And yes, you've got a really beautiful website, but if it's not doing the right things, not because everyone is busy. We had to schedule this time for us to chat, and you had to stop whatever you were doing in your day. I did the same. I muted the kids. Oh, well, if I say it like that, it sounds...
I know, you wouldn't do that to your girls.
Right. You get what I mean, right? So in between my days and time and everything else, how many messages am I receiving and how many am I retaining? And if it's not helping me in that time, guess what? Sorry, I saw it, but it did not compute. So that's where we're missing out on, sales online, because maybe we're not educating our customers enough to want to buy from us or to work with us, because we haven't stopped to survey them, find out exactly what it is that they want. Where were they before they came to us? And where else are they going? If you can show somebody you understand what they're going through, guess what? They assume you have the solution. So why we should just survey the people that are buying from us right now. Hey, Sally, I know you just bought this trinket from me. I know it was a shiny object, but please, where were you before you bought this? And Sally's going to tell you, oh, these people, they showed me, but it didn't work out, yada, yada, yada. That will give you enough content to go and write and say, hey, Jane, right now you might be working with people that are treating you like X, Y, and Z. And Jane is like, oh my God, she gets me. So it's as simple as that. Just find out what made your customers purchase your products and what results were they achieving before they came through to talk to you, and what is keeping your current customers buying from you. Is it the way you talk to them? Is it the service? Is it the product? And what other brands are they comparing yours to? Because if you're really close to your customers, people will tell you. And what objections you should, address just to make the purchase a whole lot easier again.
Yeah. And that's the main thing too. You've got to make the experience a pleasant one for your customer, so that they're not having to, they're not challenged, and they're not, and they're happy, from start to finish. You've got to be polite, and you've got to be nice, and, you've got to give them value throughout the whole process.
One thing that's happening, Rose, people are buying from their mobile phones. Your mobile phone is one sacred tool. Not even your husband, your wife, your partner, your fiance has access to this. Now, if I allow you access into my phone, you better earn it. So that's one thing that we're not also taking into consideration. Because
I agree.
if I can't let my wife in, well, not that she's attempted to, but I'm saying if I can't share some of the things that I share with myself, like the mobile phone has become such a sacred tool that in 2020, a lot of people used this device to make decisions about their life.
They have, yeah, I agree. It's no longer a laptop or a desktop. It's their phone, because the phone's with them all the time.
So it stopped them from being lonely. It connected them to their loved ones, helped them enter into their super, helped them get onto JobKeeper. So when you come with a message or a tweet or a TikTok, for me to allow you time into
Your space, yeah. It's got to be good stuff, so you just don't scroll past.
so that's one of the biggest thing that we're now fighting against.
Yeah, it's the scroll.
Yeah. That scroll, that's the reason why I'm saying stick to your 250. Even if they're not buying from you, they're going to create such a frenzy. All right. I don't know if you've seen fish feeding or when
Oh,
sharks
yes,
are
I've
feeding.
seen sharks. It's really quite scary.
Yeah. All right. So they create a frenzy and then all the other fish come and say, what is going on then? Before you know it, you've got that beautiful shop that you created and people will buy from you, because who is to know that the people that are creating that frenzy are not buying from you?
Well, that's true. And they haven't, maybe they haven't thought about, I'll put that on the back burner for now because I don't really need it right now, but something I'd like, that I want. But yeah, when the time comes, when I really do need it, I'll know the person to go to.
You see now, so we gotta keep that consistency going and we gotta create the content, because now we know who we are talking to. We are addressing their problems. And if you would understand and see the way I operate in the community, all right, for those that haven't joined, maybe you put the links on there so that
I will do the Livelong community. It is absolutely brilliant. There's a website and the Facebook page, and I will definitely put those links in there.
Absolutely. Right. So most of the questions I am asking, if you would notice, maybe you've noticed, but they are designed and set up in such a way that people give me information.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. You suck it right out of them. You're like a vacuum.
And with that information, I then feed it back to my team, or my team is watching, and we then create content that resonates to all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I stalk you all the time. That's how we became friends.
Great. So I don't think a lot of people are doing that
No.
enough.
No.
Because the little people that are giving you access, you should hold them with both hands. Because no one, what the internet is like, Rose, I think I don't know if I've said this in your other podcast. The internet, and if you haven't done this, the next time you go to a shopping center or shopping mall, just stand maybe right in the middle of the whole humdrum. There's people going left, there's people going right, there's people coming in, there's people going out, there's people yelling, there's kids running. That is what the internet is. And each and every one of our websites, Facebook pages, or whatever properties is like that little shop that is after another shop. That's after another shop. I don't know how shopping centers are like where you're from, but they have a clothes shop, a wallet, a leather bag shop, and then from there you got a $2 shop, and then you already go into Aldi and you forget. Oh man, you go into Aldi just trying to buy maybe tomatoes or pasta, and you come back with a chainsaw. It's
Done that. That's hilarious, but I have done that. Yeah, not a chainsaw, but yeah, I didn't buy what I intended to buy in there. I'm a bit like that when I go to Kmart.
And I've noticed the way Aldi is set up in a lot of shopping centers is all roads lead to Aldi.
Yeah.
And you are gathering all these ideas from all these shops, and then you just go into Aldi and you see everything in the center there.
Yep.
Because they have taken the time to study. All of this is years and years and years.
Psychological. Yeah, it's psychological. It is.
And when you go in there, you just think you are in the one shop, and now I'm just going to make my purchase because guess what? It's Aldi. It's familiar. The other shops, they're giving you ideas. And while you're in there, you start thinking, wait a minute, I saw a water bottle. Let me see if they have it in here. And automatically you just go in and you make a purchase. Yep. I think Aldi should pay double the rent in every shopping center because they just get because they're tired. They give you, have you ever seen a small shopping trolley in Aldi?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that. So no. you walk in, you pay your $2 to fill that thing. Because
I don't even think you can get baskets there, can you? You've got to take a trolley with you. I don't know that they have baskets even.
No, because the things I told you about a chainsaw, where are you going to put it?
In your hip pocket.
So it's things like that. So we should treat our websites and our platforms as a shopping mall, because all these people are aimless, wandering generalities, just aimlessly walking to go somewhere else. But just because they're familiar with you, Aldi comes and posts in my mailbox. I'm seeing their brand before I leave my house. What are we doing to constantly remind our clients, hey, we kind of know what you want. By the time you come to us, guess what? We've got something for you.
So what are your thoughts on email marketing, Prosper? I mean, I'm not a real fan of them. I don't know. I'd rather just do like on social media. But yeah, what is your view on email marketing?
Well, just like anything else, marketers ruin things. All right. If anything comes in, marketers are always the first to try and overdo anything. But I believe if you have a very responsive email list, right? If you do it well and you create such a reputation with people in the mailbox, I believe you can sell a whole lot more than what other people are doing out there, because you own the list and you can send to it at any given moment. And if you're doing it well, those that are opening will open your emails. Those that are not will be taken out of your sort of sequences so that you don't bother them. And the people that are doing it well can send newsletters. They can send people to go and just watch a video. They can send people to just listen to this podcast. All right, in the comfort of their own homes. When somebody is scrolling on Facebook, there's a psychological effect that no one can see me if I just walk past here. So there's no obligation. There's anonymity. And that's why on the other side of social media, it's very, very dark. And people think nobody can see them and can create a fake profile, and they want to ruin stuff for people. But if it comes into my mailbox, addressed to me, 9 times out of 10, I would think it's for me. And if it's written well, and it's respectful of my time, my effort, and the sanctuary that I have for my mailbox, guess what? I will read it. And if it's valuable, 2 ticks for you. And if it's very, very valuable and it's not trying to sell me something and it's not junk and it's not spam, guess what? The email gods will actually start delivering more of your emails. But if people relegate your emails to spam, then obviously the algorithms won't be supportive for you. So it's not something that you can do once. You
No.
constantly have to be in it. You might have somebody on your mailing list for 2 years. All right. As long as they're opening the emails, one day they might get onto it. So, like I was saying, if your message is consistent, if you're sending that email to the right person, email is just the media.
Well, that's very true. I don't know. To me, I'm just, I guess, well, I'm not lazy. I just don't find the value in them. I mean, I get a heap of emails in my thing, and I hardly read half of them. I think, because at the end they've got some call to action where, get on my course or buy this thing. And what they've got in the top half of the email is just rubbish anyway.
Half of the stuff that we're doing with email as well is brand familiarity. The more consistently they seeing Rose Davidson, even if I'm not reading your emails, but for that split second that I now associate your name with safe, because I wouldn't be allowing you in my mailbox if you weren't.
Well, that's a good point too. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, so I believe there's people that even if you're not reading their emails, you just let it slide because they're safe.
Yeah, well, I do know who they are. So, yeah, you're right.
That if it's done well and you're not really intrusive and you're not constantly on my case, then yeah, I'll let you hang out with me, and eventually, I don't know, maybe one day I might just open the email that would then become, oh my God, I wish I'd connected with this person ages ago. And then I start looking at all those emails, and guess what? If they're all really good, you have just converted somebody.
Well, there you go, listeners. Good advice from young Prosper here. He knows. He's a bit like Google, He's how Google knows all. Well, Prosper knows almost all.
I wish you wouldn't say that. It's been a lot of work though. It's a whiskey in the making. 10 years of
reading, and yeah, I know. Anyway, Prosper, so where can people find you?
We've been talking a whole lot about the Livelong business community, and that will probably be the best place for us to start off. Okay, so hashtag Livelong business community, as in live long and prosper, business as in business, community as in community. Livelong business community. If you're on any social media, you just hit that hashtag. Me and Rose will be so happy to welcome you, and you can join our community. And I'm not doing any of the things that I said I'm doing to people when you join to our group. So it's just a friendly environment, and we
It's good. It's a good space, and we've got some really nice people in there that give heaps of value to our members. So yeah, no, it's really good.
Fantastic.
All right, Prosper, thank you. I have so enjoyed our conversation. It's been a pleasure as always.
I absolutely value the time. We always freeze time and moments in life, and we've done it again. All right. Somebody in 2048 or in 2051 is going to stumble on this podcast, and it might just be that little spark that will change their life. So thank you, Rose, for putting out good vibrations out there and for continuing to be of value to people that don't even know you exist yet.
They will one day.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.